weekly winners. Today is Monday, August 23rd. And as you've probably already noticed, we got a solo show from me this week. I was actually on vacation this weekend, and schedules didn't really match up for me and Cody to record together. So I'm just kind of flying solo for this one. And as you can kind of see behind me here, when the adults are gone and I'm left to my own devices, I talk about wrestling. So we're going to get to that a little bit later. But so we're going to start with a little baseball. It is the kind of the predominant sport going on right now. And believe it or not, the Reds are in the playoffs. They're in the wild card. We'll see if they can hold on over the Padres there. But as of today, as it would stand, the wild card games would be Reds Dodgers in the NL and Red Sox Yankees in the AL, which that Red Sox Yankees wild card, I hope that holds, because that would be quite the series. Or maybe it shifts around so we can get that in the ALDS. But as long as we get Red Sox Yankees, I'm happy with that in the AL. And then the winner between the Reds and the Dodgers will play the Giants, who get the 1 seed, and the winner between the Red Sox Yankees will get the Rays. And then on the other side of the bracket, NL Brewers Braves, AL Astros White Sox. That's kind of where we're at right now. And so in these last couple, weeks of baseball, we still are giving out our bets. Those are always on our Twitter at Weekly Winners WI. He's not here, but I have Cody's picks for today. He's got Rockies -1.5 at the Cubs, Yankees -1.5 at the Braves, White Sox -1.5 at the Blue Jays, which I'm also on that White Sox pick, and the Diamondbacks -1.5 at the Pirates. So yeah, other than the White Sox -1.5 that we both are sharing, I am going Diamondbacks and Pirates under 9. Kind of just two not so great team seasons, all of it over. Just going through the motions to get to the finish here. Gonna go under 9 runs there. And I got the Mariners money line +110 at the A's. They got the better pitcher going into this one, despite not being the better team over the course of the season. But I got the Mariners winning that one. So to the wrestling talk, the first thing that has to be mentioned is, holy cow, that CM Punk return on AEW Rampage, the second ever episode in Chicago. It's the worst kept secret in wrestling for a couple weeks. The AEW booking the biggest venue they've ever booked for a show, including pay-per-views in Chicago for this episode of Dynamite. Everyone knew he was coming back. People were so excited, and it lived up to all the expectation. He comes out, says he didn't plan anything to say. He would know what he had to say when he got out there, and he knocked it out of the park. He gave everyone the ice cream bars, for those of you who know your WWE history. And just, holy cow. I talked about this on our last episode, how I, who am a fairly recent wrestling fan, last couple years, 3-4 years, when AEW came out, I was like, well, that's kind of cool. Like, hopefully they can compete to make WWE be better so that the product that I watch can be improved upon. I never thought in a million years that I would consistently even be watching AEW alongside WWE. But I've kind of reached the point where there's no way I'm watching every Raw, SmackDown, and NXT every week, but I'm definitely not missing Dynamite, and now I'm not missing Rampage. So AEW has taken over my wrestling, is my predominant show that I'm watching, right? The predominant brand that I'm watching for wrestling now. And this weekend just really showed all of that. AEW comes with the thing no one ever thought would happen, bringing CM Punk back in Chicago. And he's, thankfully, as a Wisconsin guy, they're going to be in Milwaukee on Wednesday for Dynamite, and I'm going to be there. Punk's going to be there. I'm hoping he wrestles. Even if he doesn't, just being in that building is going to be such a cool experience. Um, so I'm very excited for that. And then on the other, that's Friday, and then on Saturday we get SummerSlam for WWE, which of course I watch. It's a big four pay-per-view. I'm still gonna watch it. John Cena's on the card, and kind of starting with that match. I guess it's kind of what people expected. It wasn't going to be a technical masterpiece. I think people expected kind of the finisher spamming, like the wow coming from, oh my gosh, Roman Reigns kicked out of an AA from the second rope, or even it might have even been the top rope. Just it wasn't going to be a technical masterpiece. That's what neither of these guys turn out. It's the big pops, the oh my goodness, did you see this? Put him through the table. Do you see he kicked out of that? And then Roman finally gets the win over Cena to kind of bring his reign to, it's going to bring it to the full 1 year, 365-day reign of the Universal Championship. And who comes back but Brock Lesnar out of nowhere, has some weird man bun ponytail going on. And at least in my brain, I didn't want to see Brock and Roman go head to head. That's clearly the direction we're going in. I think the most notable thing, right as his return, as I don't want Brock to be on right to Paul Heyman, be like, "What the heck? This is your new guy? Like, you abandoned me. I'm back now. Like, who's it gonna be?" Heyman was kind of cowering, which he's a heel manager. That's what he does. But there was almost no even eye contact or even acknowledgement of Heyman from Brock Lesnar. I think he would be more mad at Heyman than he would be eyeing down Roman for setting up that next feud. So that confused me a little bit. But cool return. I don't think a lot of people expected it. He wasn't technically signed with WWE. So this is kind of his return, more of a surprise than some other Brock Lesnar's returns we've got over recent history. Um, but I did want to highlight a couple of other matches. First, quickly, Becky Lynch returns, which, let me get this straight. It was Sasha Banks going to be challenging for the SmackDown Women's Championship against Bianca Belair, who won it from her at WrestleMania. And that was built, even though they used the WrestleMania match to kind of be like, oh, Sasha respects Bianca now. Bianca earned that respect from her, and it was built well. And I don't know the exact, there must be some sort of reason behind it, but the announcer gets in the ring after Bianca makes her entrance and goes, well, Sasha's not gonna be able to compete tonight. Doesn't really give a reason. I don't know if it was COVID or injury or something, but something must have happened. I can't imagine this was the plan from the jump all along. And who comes out but Carmella, who I've always I felt like liked Carmella more than your average wrestling fan, whether she's a heel or a face. She's always like, she's obviously passed up by your Baileys, your Sashas, your Asukas, your Charlotte Flairs, but she's a very credible opponent that you can kind of slot in. I think I'd rather see a Carmella championship match than see a Natalia or even a like a Nia Jax. I like Carmella, but she comes out and there's no build to this. Carmella was kind of in cahoots with Sasha Banks for like one of them had to be heel for the match. So there's like tiny bits of story there, but that didn't make much sense. So they're face to face, and who returns but Becky Lynch comes back to huge ovation. Of course, she's been gone for so long now, and comes back, kind of brutalizes Carmella. Has a very funny moment where she throws Carmella out of the ring, goes to Bianca, say, one second, I'll be right back. Rolls out of the ring. throws her against the stairs or something, comes back in, and that's the championship match. And I guess that's kind of what Becky Lynch does now. For those remember the year she won the Royal Rumble. I think who was 30? Lana, I think, had the number 30 spot and was injured earlier in the night and was like limping down to the ring. And Becky comes out, it's like, she can't do it. She can't do it. She's hurt. I'm in now. I'm number 30. Like, is this Becky's gimmick? She just comes in and she can make the matches whenever she wants. But no, everyone went crazy. And then she goes for like a handshake and fakes it when Bianca goes for it, hits her and pins her with seemingly a pretty tame like set of moves. It wasn't like anything like, oh my goodness, like devastating, or she like cheated or anything. It was just a little bit dirty, a little bit heelish, and wins the title 1, 2, 3. And I felt everyone kind of felt a little complex. Like no one would have been angry if Becky came back and won the title on her very first night. She's earned that. But to do it in that way and to kind of bury what Bianca has done, who's been a great champion ever since WrestleMania, was very perplexing. And I wasn't even sure at the time if Becky was like 100% heel, because when she started, just beating up Carmella out of nowhere, I was like, well, this is kind of heelish behavior, but Carmella is the heel in this situation. So maybe, it's fine because, she's, if the good guy does it to the bad guy, it's not, that's how wrestling works. But I'm like, oh, that's a little, and then she does that. And even then I wasn't like 100% like Becky's a heel now. Like that was a heel turn because it's a little, she's, little opportunist, little edge, ultimate opportunist. Like, I'm going to use every advantage. Like, I'm the man. I'm not going to, if you're going to go for a handshake when we're in the ring and the bell's rung, like, I'm going to take advantage of it. But no, the reaction has pretty much been like, that was a heel turn. And I would have thought that WWE learned from last time with Becky that she isn't a heel. You can book her like a heel, but if you can replicate the popularity that she got last time, she's still going to get cheered. She's a tweener at best. She just is best as a face. And maybe it's been enough time off that you can book her as a heel. I don't think people are really going to boo her unless, and stepping all over the 6 months of work that Bianca has done is not a way to get heel heat. That's not what you want. That's not the reason you want people to boo Becky. Like that's not real heel hate. We're not hating her. We're hating what you did to Bianca as the management and the booking. So yeah, perplexing there. Glad Becky's back, but well, it'll be interesting to see if what happens with Bianca. Like, is this the Kofi Kingston where he comes and gets beat by Brock in a couple seconds and then he just like doesn't get another title shot? He's just like shoved back down the card. I hope not, but I'm a little nervous about that going forward. And mentioned him a little bit ago, Edge had a match with Seth Rollins, and this is where the self-consciousness and the self-awareness of WWE really just blows my mind. They sit down in their writers' room and they go, okay, for SummerSlam, we want to take Seth Rollins, the young star. He's been away from the big title picture for a little while, but you could heat him up at any time and get him up to that WrestleMania headlining level. He's really good. We have Edge, we've done his like old, like the Randy Orton feuds. Like we've done kind of wrapped his stuff up. These two are going to have quite the match if we put them together. What's the story here? And someone has the idea. They go, well, Seth could be mad that Edge, because he's a legend, because he's a Hall of Famer, he kind of gets handed a lot of opportunities. He doesn't wrestle a lot of TV matches. He kind of, only shows up to talk on TV and then just because he's Edge, gets to cut the line, as they said, and gets the championship opportunities over maybe some guys who are there every week, like grinding and earning it, like Seth Rollins. So a writer in WWE is like, that is my idea. that's something that Seth could be mad about. And other people like, that's a really good storyline. Let's go with that. That makes a lot of sense. Like Seth Rollins is the heel, and you know, I just gonna have to go back to like the dark place to try to beat him. But it's a good heel storyline because it makes a little sense. There's a reason why Seth Rollins would be angry. He doesn't have to do all the like heelish behavior, cheating to win and stuff that he does, but his general reason why he is feuding with Edge makes sense. So they have that match. It's a good match. And then the very next match on the pay-per-view, who's wrestling Bobby Lashley? Bill Goldberg, the personification of walking in and getting a championship opportunity. I looked it up. Thank God for the internet. There's quite literally a website, shout out profightdb.com, that has a uh, match history for every wrestler. It lists every match that they fought in. With the last time that Goldberg has wrestled on WWE TV, because it's 2004 when he wrestled Kane to a draw, a no contest draw. And since then, he has wrestled in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pay-per-views without appearing in a wrestling match on TV one time. And 6 of those last 8 being for either the Universal or WWE Championship. So you can go 3 minutes ago to a match where you're saying, hey, this guy would maybe be angry because a legend is cutting in line and taking an opportunity from a younger guy who's here every week. And then the match right after that, here comes Bill Goldberg. He's gonna come and he has a championship opportunity because he showed up and pointed at Bobby Lashley a lot. Like, where's the self-awareness? Like, can you not see what's going on there? Like, how many times do people have to, like, what dirt does Goldberg have on Vince McMahon that he can just walk in and get a championship opportunity whenever he wants? Like, I'm sick of seeing him. Like I said, I'm a very recent wrestling fan. I've only picked it up over like pretty much since I've been in college, and I've already seen 4 Goldberg championship matches. That's just it's just ridiculous. There's no reason for it. I don't know who's interested in these storylines. I don't know how, like, they must have some number that's telling them that people who miss the Attitude Era tune in because they see Goldberg's name, but I can't imagine they keep tuning in after seeing his matches. Like, it's just, oh, is he gonna hit the spear or is the spear gonna get hit on him? Like, especially with Bobby Lashley, like that's not the spear is so widely used. Like a spear versus spear doesn't really hold that much weight for me anymore. Like, his matches are short, which is the one saving grace, is you don't have to sit through 15 minutes of a Goldberg match. But yeah, I just don't understand it. I don't think the WWE show Summerslam was bad. I think there's some really cool things. Notably, I loved Riddle and Randy Orton with RK Bro. I thought that was a very cool storyline. Like maybe the silliest wrestler you have on the card, which thanks God they toned him back a little bit in Matt Riddle. Um, Teaming with the most intimidating, like, even though they won the Raw Tag Team Championships, like you could still see Randy Orton like snapping and turning on Riddle at any second because of like just one little thing, and just like that's just a very cool story. Like, and the Edge Seth Rollins thing. Like, if you're gonna bring in these old guys who you don't want them working on TV each week, that's how you do it. Make it part of the story. Like, make it interesting, because that's what we're all thinking already when we're watching the match. But yeah, it's tough when AEW is bringing back CM Punk and also poaching all your stars that you're letting go and seeing them do great things in AEW and following it up with SummerSlam. Like, I get to see CM Punk on Wednesday. WWE is not making that happen for me. AEW is making that happen for me. And I'm excited for that. But there is a very, very close second in things I'm excited for at that show. And that is I get to see Malachi Black wrestle, who when he was Aleister Black in WWE was quite literally from his time in NXT was my favorite wrestler to watch behind maybe Adam Cole for like a second, but I loved Aleister Black so much. He gets called up to the main roster and he does nothing. And now he's gone. And now AEW signed him. And now on Wednesday, I get to see him wrestle. AEW is doing it. I think people are getting back into watching wrestling for AEW, not for WWE. And I'm not like anti WWE. I hope they can get it together. Hopefully, this ever growing threat of AEW is enough to kind of make them go into like panic mode. Like, I don't know what has to happen if they have to have like competing pay per views on the same weekend and AEW has to outperform them for WWE to like wake up and like this competition sparks another, WWE like competition, like attitude era type thing. Hopefully that happens. But until I start kind of seeing it from WWE, AEW is kind of where I'm gonna rely. I still have kind of eye on NXT because I like so many of the guys there. And if I'm kind of bored on a Monday or a Friday, I'll tune in. But right now, AEW has my heart. CM Punk has my heart, and that's why our weekly winner segment that we do each Monday. I don't know who else I could possibly pick except for CM Punk slash AEW slash Tony Khan, kind of just everyone in that was involved in that scenario. I'm excited for it. It's the most exciting thing in wrestling right now, and yeah, I hope WWE can look across the aisle and see what they're doing, and hopefully take a few notes and do a little better. I didn't both have to do that. AEW still has a long way to go to be a completely legitimate threat to WWE. But that's what I've got for now. A little bit of a shorter solo episode this week. But, hopefully these last few weeks or month of baseball treat you well with your bets. But football, it's coming. It's almost here. It's at your doorstep. Hang in there. If you like the preseason, you're already enjoying it. It's not quite for me, although I do love seeing Big Ben, looking like 2012 again. But yeah, we'll have another episode. Me and Cody will both be back for Thursday. Until then, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.